I appreciate everyone's attendance this evening for our Tri-Township Consolidated School Corporation meeting. We'll start with pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first line of business will be the minutes from the November board meeting. I ask for a motion to approve by the board.
I'll make a motion to approve the November board meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Got two personnel items for tonight. Approval for Will Pryor to be the 7th and 8th grade girls basketball coach.
I'll make a motion to approve Will Pryor.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved.
And then approval for Tara Solar to be the 7th and 8th grade girls basketball. I should say assistant.
Motion approved.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And motion approved. Next line of business will be the main document.
Live balance sheet that runs from 7 to 21.
Make a motion to approve the main document.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Review the balance sheet. We'll move on to public comment. Are there any further comments this evening on that agenda? Any of them to the record on lunch?
Yeah, item number 7, I put that in your packet for this month. We've had that same policy, there's been no changes, so it's information only. I just wanted to have you reacclimate yourself to it, because we're at a point in the year where we're going to have to follow through on some of the policy that's written in there, because we have a good number of accounts that are in arrears. So we're going to have to enforce some of the process that we've agreed to in order to get those balances taken care of. Now's the time to start doing that before we get too close to the end of the school year. Anything to add on that, Mr. Ryan? Okay. On to number 8 is the first reading of our school calendar. I provided a copy of that to the teachers union and get some suggestions and feedback from them as well as from Brian. The biggest change, the biggest difference that I'm proposing at the moment is to look at a full week in fall break. There's quite a few schools in the area that do it. I want to get home. And so might be something to consider. But we'll continue to explore that. Tori already let me know I had one mistake in it that I've got to fix, so the copy you're looking at, I think it may show us attending on Memorial Day in attendance. We can't do that. So I'll get that fixed. But that's the first reading on that calendar for next year.
Maybe more, what's the call right now, is it 2 or 3 days?
2 days,
2.
Thursday, Friday. Yeah.
Where within the calendar are you proposing we would add?
That, I think we're, when we get to that, somebody hollered out there, what,
16 to the 20th.
16 to 20.
Yeah, usually it's 19 to 20.
Gotcha, yeah, I guess, where were you thinking you were gonna add the days back in? Maybe start the front side, maybe?
I think some on the back side, right?
Yeah.
A couple on the front, and then a couple on the back.
This first draft has 86 first semester days and 94 second semester days. But I will say, right, as Lance and I were talking about, where the need to add the balance, or try to be as close to balance on semester and days comes from. I was trying to remember if that was a Roslansky strong desire with his math curriculum. I wasn't sure. That's something you can look at.
Yeah, we're at 86 and 94 this year.
Because there, I see some schools, I saw a big school district that just approved theirs for next year, and their first semester ends on January 12th. So some schools don't worry about ending the semester before the break, but there's a lot of different calendars out there.
I just saw this morning, the school expanded their day by 35 minutes, 4 days. They're starting to save on transportation, and save on funding, but they're not on the road that extra day, and all the money that they're saving, I think.
Yeah, that would be, no, that's actually funny.
So wait, so you're saying that they're going 4 days instead of 5?
Or instead of having to do all the transportation costs, and the challenge of getting employees, but they're adding 35 minutes onto a day that's not much added, so they're off on Mondays.
I am following that closely. There's two schools of thought. That one's nice, obviously, for the savings.
Oh, so you think about transportation as well?
Yeah, the savings realized. However, my 4-day school week has impact on a lot of academic kids. The idea I have, which would be not lengthening the day, but lengthening the school. So the drawback is they're not savings in that idea, but the reduction of summer break from 12 weeks down to much shorter, and placing those breaks throughout the school year as 3-day weekends. There's a huge body of evidence that shows that summer learning loss is a real thing. Those 12 weeks away from doing new math, very little reading, very little writing, kids back way up, and then we're starting again in the fall from after a few steps back. So that's one thing. With the other thought being that either will provide this attack attendance bills, both for students and for staff, because you get a day during the week to do business.
Yeah.
Doctor appointments, dentist, eye doctor, whatever. So I am open to exploring some version of a 4-day work week.
I think the one, Tim, that you saw, that the flexibility falls under the DOE of you being you have to be a certain rated school. to do that.
But actually,
Because they go by, it's 64,000 and like 800 minutes you have to be in the school.
Right.
In the school year.
but I believe it was actually in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
It was on, when I run my
Yeah.
beach event plan, and that's where I saw it.
But I know in Indiana they have that now, if you're already in
Yeah.
a rated school, you have that flexibility if you want to go 160 days.
Right.
But add an hour to your school day.
So yes, we're actually, while I'm working on next year's calendar, I'm also kind of picking out some 4-day school week ideas for the following year. Because we would need to get a lot more input and discussion, bring some public input in, maybe whether it's survey or
Casey, what would you think you might trim the summer break down from 12 down to 8?
yeah, the one idea that I've mapped out, it would actually go from 12 down to more like 3 or 4. And you'd still get a week, you do a week at fall break, still your Thanksgiving week. I believe it's still 2 weeks at Christmas break, and then it's either a week or maybe 2 weeks at spring break. And all of those breaks land right at the end of the 9 weeks. So you have a clean break from each quarter. So the sticking point on my first goal of this right now is fair week. But
That's what I'm sitting here thinking.
yeah, so, but there's there's some hybrid things to consider that might be able to get us around that. And potentially just keep the month of July open.
I know we just brought up information twice. We did not
John, I thought we decided last month.
we just had other information.
Okay.
I don't know if we.
We could have had it tonight because the decision we made was to go to fourth Monday.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we never really voted.
So we will write that in on 17. We'll put that at the bottom. 17, board meeting calendar. And it will be, for 23, it will be the fourth Monday. I apologize, that's an oversight on my part. That will be for approval, and we'll get there shortly. Number 9, that just didn't have time to get anywhere further on any kind of work vehicle. I think there's a lot of options that need to be explored, and I wasn't able to do any investigative work on that. So there's no questions or thoughts on that. We'll table that, move that on down to the spring. Number 10, we got our 1782 notice back from the state, the DLGF, and I was really happy to see that our actual tax rate is below 70 cents. So, again, we've been able to add some nice things and improve our school as a whole, and improve our physical plant, and still have the lowest tax rate, basically in Northern Indiana, with very few exceptions. 11, I gave you some information on special ed bus quotes. And just today, I think I sent an email out to you with the other standard bus quotes. So I'm not looking for a decision on those tonight since I wasn't able to get that into the packet. We don't have, there's no reason to be in a hurry on that one, because whether I give them the go-ahead tomorrow or next month, we're not seeing the new bus until 24. It's just where that 24 is the estimated taking possession date.
It refreshed my memory, the special education bus, was that gonna be a full-size bus or a small?
Yeah, so what I'm looking at on this this is a full-size bus. And I think, Tim, to answer some of your questions that came through the emails, see, we haven't bought a full-size bus since, actually before I got here. We haven't bought a brand new full-size bus since, because we've got 518. So 518 would have been ordered in 17. I've ordered 1520, which is a brand new short yellow. But for many years, what we've raised in that levy is 150,000. And so once I got the standard quote today, there wasn't as much difference as I thought. But the rest of that email that spelled out the differences, this quote here, that's 151, has the wheelchair lift.
That's rear, it's a rear lift, it's not a second.
Well, it's at the back of the
It's the
bus,
back of the bus. Yeah,
side,
yeah, but it's,
yes.
okay. That's
And
preferred.
that's a $10,000 addition. That had the built-in seats, which are a few $1,000s. It has the undercarriage storage. So it had quite, and then of course the AC. The AC adds to the markup because it needs a more significant alternator. Did that come through with the email? Those things today? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Roger did a good job of kind of explaining. Here's the way. So
That's all.
How many kids does that bus hold?
So the full-size buses, I'd have to look at the length. This one that you've got here is a 54 passenger. If you look at the top of that spec sheet, Melanie, which is page, I've got number 38. It's got seating capacity of 54 plus the driver.
That's for the back one, and the early one.
So this is the first quoted one, which is the more expensive bus because the full bus AC, wheelchair lift, built-in harnesses for the little kids. And then you just subtract those things out to get down to the standard bus. That standard quote that I emailed today doesn't have the wheelchair lift, doesn't have the AC, the harnesses, or the understorage.
And that's where some of my questions came, and if we have, I don't know, we are on a standard of special ed route versus, and buying those things for that, because it is one of our first starter purchases versus looking at another bus in Champaign or whatever the case may be, and of course you have visibility is way better than
Yeah.
we do.
So like I had stated, the only thought on this was with our special needs students that are traveling with Fort. Just today I drove that route. So the first pickup is 12 minutes after 6. So those two young ladies, again, because we're out of district. So over on 39 north of Highway 10, we're picking up at 6:12 and then coming into La Crosse. So those two gals are on the bus for almost 2 hours. And then same on the return trip. And then, as we get to La Crosse and Wanatah back over to Hannah. So the notion of the AC and the driver had mentioned it to me. Hey, if you're going to buy a bus, what do you think about this? Because August and September, a little bit of October, and then May, those, not every day, but you get a few miserable days. And just thinking about, just something to consider. Today I hauled 14 kids. 3 of those are nonverbal autistic. So keeping that in mind, those are the little ones, pre-K. So
How many total are there? Right now?
students
Yeah.
that we haul the total board, so 16 or 18 total. So yeah, I'm not looking for a decision on that tonight. But kind of absorb that, and then we'll add that other email in, and we can talk it some later. Then you've got the quote from area sheet metal, again in anticipation of when spring gets here. We've got an HVAC unit on the roof of the Tiger Den that is going to need to be replaced. It's both aged out and it's in bad shape. He's got it basically rigged to where it will get us through this winter on the heating side, but it's not going to switch to cold and do anything for us when that's needed. And that quote is sitting there at $26,700 for complete removal, replacement, brand new unit, renting of the crane, the whole deal. Now, again, that's the only quote I've gotten at this point. But I probably will try to get some other pricing, but at the same time, Brian and I both really like, we've had area sheet metal consistently.
That was done most of the work down there.
Yeah.
So I'm making a motion just to use that one, get this done.
Yeah. Their technician, George, do you know George's last name? But he's the best one that we've dealt with. He knows our system. And I mean, at this point, we've got him, we've given him a key, since we're not down there. If we have to call him because one of the coaches tells us, hey, practice tonight, the gym is 60 degrees, George will go and fix it for us.
So how far are we at?
Over.
As far as being there?
Oh,
When we actually install it.
that the email said it needs to get, sooner to get ordered better. Without question.
What's their history been then as far as competitiveness versus other?
Yeah, we've typically had similar pricing between them and, who's my other one out of Portage, that we use,
Lovings?
Loving, yes, Lovings. But Lovings was the one that had a couple guys that looked at our systems. Now, one of those was in the old building. They looked at that system, so I don't even know what this is. And George has both sides covered for whatever you need. But the pricing has been comparable. No.
If you think it's a concern for being able to get, you know,
Yeah,
get the name on the docket, I would go along with, that is, the history of being competitive, I go along with that's the process.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the other board members have to go.
yeah, I can just speak to the history. I know we like to get multiple quotes whenever we can.
It would be nice to have a second quote, just to make sure that, $26,000 is.
Yes. Yeah, and here's the other thing I'll do. I'll look back tomorrow and see what the last unit we got replaced cost, and I'll send that out.
How long ago was that replaced, do you remember?
It was just a
A
year.
year ago.
Yeah,
They're both like 2,000 when they were put in.
yeah,
Or 20.
yeah. And so I'll get you what that cost was a year ago, and I'll get Lovings to get us a quote too. That's not a problem. I mean, that's not gonna hold us up.
Nothing hurt.
Yeah. 13, our vacated building, as you know, a month ago, I submitted to the state to let them know that we had vacated the old high school, and that triggers it to be on the 30-day availability list for a charter school or a state university. That 30-day window has timed out. There was no interest in that, and so it basically falls back to the board to do with that building what you decide to do. Dispose of it, can sell it, can repurpose it, can tear it down. So but we've got options there that we need to explore, and I would say, in my opinion, explore quickly and decide what we're doing. Because keep in mind, we are still heating it, we're powering it, and that's not an insignificant amount of dollars, even with the thermostat at 54-ish.
How much is it utilized during basketball and things like that? Are they open?
Not too much, we try not to use it too much. The small offices where Mr. Snodgrass is, those are on individual units, office spaces, so that's heated at 70, but that's what we use the officials down there once, but we've been able to find room to change that.
You still have full like water running and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, that line, that'll be something we'll have to think about, how that line comes in from the road, it goes to the school and then into the gym. So that'll be something that we'll look at.
Like, questions from the public about possible usage, or no one's approached you guys about? I was just curious.
The only one was Mr.
Shealy.
Shealy, the night at one of our board meetings, maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
2 or 3. Yeah, that was the only. We've had 2 occasions this fall semester where we've allowed LaPorte County law enforcement to come in and use the building for some practice, so
Sure.
some drills, some practice, some professional development. The second one was pretty interesting. The 3 guys brought in drones, and we're working on their drone skills throughout the building. So those are the only 2 things that's been used for.
They have people hiding in the areas and that's,
Yeah.
I guess if I could speak on that and say a couple things, this is my last board meeting. I guess as a Cross resident my whole life, and my mom and dad both went to that school, my siblings all went to that school. I had my wife, my 2 kids. I guess I understand what you're saying about we need to make a decision on what we're doing, because we can't, we didn't move up here to continue to pay a water bill and heat and so forth. We're gonna have a water bill there anyway. Yeah, but I guess just all I can say is maybe, try to get a little bit of public input, see if anybody's got any good ideas, give it a chance. I mean, I realize that in some ways it's probably best used as a parking lot, but there's a lot of history there. I guess if somebody can figure out a purpose for it, that'd be the ideal scenario. I realize it may not, when we had our meeting with the, I forget what they were called, they were the Historical Society.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of answered their own question as to why we were putting, why we were going to stay there with the school. Because when I asked him what he could figure out what else to do with it, he said there wasn't enough population in the us to justify doing anything else with it. But nonetheless, I guess just to be respectful. I'm not going to have any say in the board member anymore, but if something would come up, it would be a good idea because I appreciate it.
Sure.
So the cross resident, you'd be able to find a chance.
Well said. Totally understand.
And in that same vein, we did move the school up here. I guess, I sure hope that we continue as a school corporation to use the dam for as long as we can see fit. That was part of my agreement with moving the school up here, so the board members, or just, I hope that, a new gym would basically, in my eyes, try to make us almost look like we're South Central East or East Quarter West, let's kind of be true to ourselves and keep some history and so it is a unique gym, so I guess the other thing I could say is just keep some traditional values with the school. Nothing against people's way they want to do things, but don't need anything promoted, I guess you would say.
I completely agree. Both the same on that, with the gym. I agree with that as well.
I like to move a rankings number 4 to number 1. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Online, we're ranked number 4 as the
Yeah.
historical students, and it's cool.
Did you see that, Drew?
No, I didn't. I'd love to see improvements made, to it and some of the amenities improved and have it for a long time. I'm not even opposed to fathead spots.
Well,
So late.
Well, it sounds like we better vote on it tonight.
well, I'll give you a guarantee, Darren, if this board helps me find a way to get a practice facility up here, just a practice facility, in the form of a small field house, I will guarantee you that Tiger Den will stay through our lifetimes. I've got no problem making that guarantee.
You can't duplicate the Tiger.
No. Yeah. I'll be right there with you defending it.
Okay. Well, that was the original, that was discussed one night about 4 years, 5 years ago, however long it was. So,
Yeah. But and I agree about some improvements down there along the way.
That was my agreement.
Yeah. Well,
like I said, I appreciated my time on the board and friendship with you guys and we're going to do right.
we'll balance it.
I want to say Darren has been a great mentor to me. Darren, so thank you so much. You do know the things that we have a lot of long and good talks. So thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for being a sounding board for the last 6 years for me. So I appreciate it.
We'll stay on the theme. Bounce it back to you here a little bit. But it is Mr. Kruger's last meeting, or something.
Thank you.
things here, so, you'll, got you some Tri-Township swag container for you.
Sounds great.
And the other thing in there, speaking of that Tiger Den, is your lifetime pass. You'll never pay it for the door again.
Thank you. I'm gonna frame that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You got rid of it.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, so don't man.
There is a wallet-sized card. Mr. McMahon, principal's report.
That's tough, all of that.
Oh, I know, that was gonna be my superintendent.
Thanks. So we had a couple PTO activities since our last board meeting. We had turkey bingo here, right before Thanksgiving. Had about 70 players, made almost $1,000 that night. So it was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of people that played that night that said, when's your next one? So we are looking at, I think March, we're looking at having that again. So
I've heard that from everyone that was here. When are they doing it again?
it was a good time, it was a lot of fun.
That you St. Patrick's Day, I mean.
We're gonna have it that Friday, but I didn't think we'd get good attendance. St. Patrick's Day on Friday, so.
Yeah.
We might have to move venues for that. Yeah. So, back there we got a reindeer lane, so it's like a secret Santa shop. Brought that back for the first time in a long time. I think we sold over $3,000 worth of stuff. Yeah. A lot of kids with $40 and $50 bills just, and they spend every last penny that they can. How much money do I have? How much? So it's, yeah. So that's gone really well. The last 3 nights we've had Christmas concerts here. And we also had our drama club production right before Thanksgiving. So thank you, Mrs. Lance, for all of her hard work and what she put in. The last 3 concerts have been amazing. We had great crowds every night. And also Miss Warren for the artwork that was on the walls. That really set the stage. We had a different Santa this year, a little smaller version of the Santa this year. And the Grinch actually showed up this year too, so that was exciting.
On the play.
Yes.
I heard comments last night, talking to some people, just how they thought it was neat that the small kids got a chance to be incorporated. How that was, really a big deal to them, and so.
And I thought they did really, was it 4th graders? Was that the youngest? 4th and 5th, and I loved watching them in that play. And they're having Aladdin Junior in March now. And so they had casting for that, so all the kids found out this week what they're gonna, what roles, and is it down to 3rd grade or?
Yeah.
So it's 3rd grade, all the seniors doing it.
Okay.
And our high schoolers did a great job with those kids.
And they also had big props for the robotics.
So that's my next thing. So we restarted Robotics Club. Started with elementary. After a couple weeks, Mr. Clifford said, let's do junior high. They're doing it 1 day a week. Now they're doing it 2 days a week. Some of the kids asked them to do this 2 days a week. And they're gonna actually compete in April or March. They're gonna compete just south of Indy in the competition.
And I loved the basketball.
So
That was great.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
That was great.
We had a robot that the kids built that sits the basketball sits on it. The kids drove it out to the officials and handed it to them. The arms is up, is on it, so.
Birdie's scheming into something for next go round, so.
Yeah, so he's already got something going for.
That was great.
The radio station was there that night, they were talking about it on the radio, that was really cool.
So.
They were taking pictures.
That's awesome. So yeah, so that was, so that's been a lot of fun. To help robotics kind of get going, Mr. Clifford with our 3D printers is kind of making these infinity cubes, these fidget toys, and then there's these spinners. So I told him to make one for every board member. So you guys can have one. And I'll let you guys kind of pick which one you want. You guys can see all of them. And if there's a different one that you want, I'm sure he'll make it for you tonight. Never really more bullying for you. But, yeah. But yeah, but we're selling those, and I probably, how many have we sold?
Almost $200.
Yeah, so we're selling them for $5 a piece, so we probably, so about 40 of them we sold to the kids so far. And staff, so it's not just the kids, it's also the staff. So one thing, and I'll bring this up again in January, and it's funny that these two are here because I just talked to Mrs. Lance about having a drama camp over the summer. I'm having kids come in and she can get her hands on some little 30-minute plays that the kids can do. So we're looking at adding that. And then we are gonna have STEM camp over the summer here. For K, or second grade through, third grade through eighth. Yeah, rising third graders, so it'll be second graders now. So we'll have STEM camp. And we're gonna open it up, not just for Tri-Township students, but any students in the area. It's a week-long camp that they're gonna build. I'll let you talk. I'll let you say what everything they're gonna build during that week. A CO2 car.
I get on my list.
A plane, June, and then another group in July. And all that money will go towards the robotics. That is all I have, sir.
So I don't forget, the board meeting calendar on the fourth Monday for 2023. Need approval for that?
I'll make a motion to approve the board meeting moving to the fourth Monday.
I'll second. Thank you.
Here we go.
Yeah. That is all I have.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Leave it hanging out.
I'll second.
Thank you very much.
I got a question, I'm sure about that you're gonna get, it's gonna have a filtration system on it, I'm giving all the lots, maybe on this.
I'm just thinking, figured I wanted to.
I don't know the
You got the email over on now, but I have to find out. Look,
Okay.
a lot of the buses, like the parking lot, germs and everything else on the bus.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so air quality filtration.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, he did. He didn't say, he didn't talk about that. That's right.
So I just wanted to, they're pushing on the school bus, because we got so many kids back there.
Oh, yeah.
The air in there is not in circulation.
Right. I'll just dig on it and see if Curlin's bus sales is dealing with that.